What is the weirdest advice you have heard that is strangely effective? To improve your posture, pretend that you are shooting lasers out of your nipples and trying to shoot people in the head. That doesn't work when you get old. I'd shoot my feet off. If you can't fight the fear, do it scared. Got me through a lot of anxiety. I tell myself my increased heart rate and racing thoughts are just signs that my body is priming itself to allow me to do something I didn't know I could do. I used to think they were signs to quit, but they're really an ignition sequence. Reminds me of my favorite quote from A Song of Ice and Fire. Can a man still be brave if he's afraid? That is the only time a man can be brave. Don't beat yourself up forever. Beat yourself up once, then move on. Mr. Homer Simpson. That's actually good. My favorite Homerism is, just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand. When writing an email, leave the recipient field until last. And add the attachments first. How to unclog your nose. Close your mouth and pinch your nose so you can't breathe. Shake your head up and down until you need to breathe. Remove your hand from your nose and breath. Through your nose, not your mouth. Been doing this for a while now and it's pretty effective. Holding your breath for a prolonged time is extremely effective at getting rid of a boner. Instructions are clear. Do not, I repeat, do not hold your breath until you die, or you may end up getting your boner back. If looking for something in a low-light environment, try to use your peripheral vision. I read about it in an old World War II manual about aerial combat at night. It has something to do with how eyes work. It has helped me many times over the years. For finding stuff in a darkened room, or outside in a field at night, not aerial combat. Fail quickly, as in, if your plan may not succeed, better to find out next week than next year. Helped me quit a suffocating job and dig into my own business. 10 out of 10. Get someone to warm to you by asking them for a small favor. Not asking to do something for them, but asking them to do something for you. I have no idea why this works, but it does. This is a classic conman's tactic. Makes it harder for people to flat out reject the scam. I've heard that this is because they have to sort of internally justify why they want to do something for you, even if they're not conscious of it. Counterintuitive maybe, but it helped my anxiety immensely. In general, no one cares about you, what you're doing, or gives you a second thought once you're out of their sight. It really helped me to stop being self-conscious all the time in public. 2 from elderly Southern relatives. 1. Something ain't nothin'. Taking 5 minutes to work out, clean, work on a big project, etc. is better than 0 minutes. We often think we've got to do 2 hours of rigorous work or it doesn't accomplish anything. 2. Time will pass either way. If you want to work to get better at something, accomplish a long-term goal, or change careers or credentials, don't look at the 2 to 5 years and think you'll be too old. If you're 24 and want to go to college, you'll be 28 in 4 years with or without a degree, regardless of what you do in that time. No one thinks about you as much as you do. Meaning we're all worried about people thinking about the tiniest embarrassing things we do, when no one really cares. It gave me freedom to take on more challenges and not worry about failure. Rinse your cereal bowl straight away. That stuff sets like concrete. But I was just about to eat the cereal. It's only embarrassing if you're embarrassed. The older I get, the more I understand this one. Edit. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the awards and feedback. Don't give excuses unless they ask for it. I.e., if you are late for work, just say that you were late. Not why you are late. Never volunteer more information than is needed to get through the situation. Sometimes you'll just make things worse by moving their focus to something they didn't even know about. I.e., sorry I'm late to the meeting. I was trying to help, coworker, finish up the presentation. Boss. What? Coworker, Told me they submitted that last week. Now you're late and got your coworker in a jam. For all my ADHD people or others who struggle with executive function, do chores while waiting. Have something in the oven? Let's see how much laundry you can fold before the timer goes off. Microwave? I bet you can empty the dishwasher in 90 seconds. On a phone call? Pop in those earbuds and let's tidy while we talk. I get so hung up on waiting MODE, and the novelty of trying to accomplish a small task during that interim feels a bit like a deadline pressure, which is basically the only thing that motivates me. Tricking my brain into a mini-productive panic is startlingly effective. As a 30-something adult with newly diagnosed ADHD, I don't operate that way. I follow the "if you give a mouse a cookie" model. Put something in the oven? Sure, I can vacuum while I wait. Oh damn. The kids led their basketball inside? Why did they have it inside anyway? I'll put it in the garage. Man, this garage is filthy. I'll just tidy it up a minute. Hey, I found my fishing pole. I wonder if that pond around the corner actually has any fish in it. I'll just grab some chicken scraps, bait, and a beer from the garage fridge and go check. Meanwhile, my brownies have started a house fire and I'm trying to figure out where to do with this catfish I caught. I should have brought a bucket. Sucking at something is the first step to being sorta good at something. Honestly, it's deflated the embarrassment of making mistakes when learning new things. It's okay to suck at something on your way to okayness. If you want to buy something, wait 24 hours, and if you still want to buy it afterwards, then buy it. This has really cut my impulse buying down and has made saving money extremely easy. People don't always remember what you say but how you make them feel. When you are really, really down, the rules of how one does things are out the window. Examples: body image issues. Shower in the dark. Can't manage to make yourself a sandwich. Eat sandwich component out of the fridge. Dirty laundry everywhere. Take off the laundry basket lid. Can't talk on the phone. Make up phone persona and roleplay them. Include catchphrase. Going to bed makes you nervous. Sleep on the couch. Can't make up your mind about gifted clutter. Put in box, get back if you miss it, gift if not. Brains are really, really weird. Sometimes the smallest thing can be a barrier that is impossible to overcome. Remove barrier. Get through that terrible week like a well-fed, clean-smelling human. Build back from there. Make them tell you no. It's great when you're not sure if you should apply for a job, go for a promotion or a raise, or do something you're afraid of. Don't be so worried about getting told no or failing. You'll surprise yourself. This is one I came up with to explain my self-esteem. You can't sad your ugly away. I woke up one day after years of torment, a lot of which from myself, and realized that being upset about how I look won't make me any prettier, so I may as well just own my looks. I can fix what I can, but being upset about it ain't gonna do shit. May as well love my fugly self. Loving myself when I felt no one else would, and being happy and enjoying life despite it all, it really is the greatest revenge I could come up with. I tell my daughter to add the word "yet" after anything about lacking something. I don't know how to play this game. Becomes, I don't know how to play this game yet. That sort of thing. It's meant to redirect negative self-admonishment into a drive to grow and learn. And apparently it's sinking in, because she will say something like, "Ugh, I can't make it up this hill," while we're out bike riding, and then catch me looking at her, give a big eye roll and go, "Oh yet," in the exact tone you think a teenage girl would use. Then she ends up sometimes just rage succeeding to prove the point. It's great. She's going to be at least 3 times better than me, low as that bar may be. Put a small stool under your feet when pooping, to mimic the natural squatting position. Changed my life, literally. During the first week after my discovery, I had a strong urge to tell all my family and friends about it, but had to restrain myself because of how weird that would sound. So instead, I'm sharing this advice with you. Blinking twice when reading info from textbooks to sort of mimic photographic memory. Works for me for some reason. The amount of people who will forever remember this comment because they've double blinked. You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it. Benjamin me, we bought a zoo. Do jazz hands in front of wasps and they'll fly away. You'll look like an idiot, but it's working. Edit. English is not my first language, so don't be rude, don't wave your hands like a maniac. I'm talking about calm jazz hands. I learned that they'll focus on your fingertips and get confused, so they'll leave you alone. Don't kick a hive and try it. It's working for a small amount of wasps. Also, I'm from Europe, so I don't know for big-ass murder wasps from other countries. And no, it's not working for mosquitoes. Wash your clothes with vinegar to remove smells. If you forget wet clothes in the washing machine for too long, they'll smell like mildew. Washing them again doesn't really take the smell away, for as many times as you try. Wash them again with -1 liter of white vinegar, no detergent, do not use balsamic vinegar or whatever, and somehow the end result won't smell to mildew nor vinegar, just like pure clean washed clothes. I expected the vinegar smell to remain, but those clothes were a write-off on my book, so I tried anyway and they came out perfectly. There was a guy I first met at a family-friendly pub once. He was busking and he had a straw sun hat, and mismatched socks. He chatted to my family and came to learn I was deaf and wrote me a letter that says, "Sometimes it's better to be deaf, because the world isn't listening." And for some reason that's always stuck with me. My mother always said, "Go back to basics," whenever I was struggling mentally. I disregarded it for years, but now I live by it. I only utilize this way of living during desperate survival times, but it's amazing advice. Anger and remorse are shadow companions, with remorse always a step behind. I took control over my temper issues by reminding me of this one-liner. Hope this works for you, too. Do you understand that if you try to endlessly stack bricks, no matter how perfect you do it, they will fall over? My boss told me this after I burned out. Just says that no matter how well you plan your work, too much is too much. If you need to remember something, write it 3x or say it out loud 3x. Always weird when you repeat something verbally 3x, especially names. For a perfect high five, look at the elbow of the other person. 100% of the time it'll be a spot-on high five. Stressed, upset, panic attack, ennui? Put an ice cube in your hand. Move it around your hand until it slowly melts. It takes about 5 minutes. Primary effect: the cold on your skin grabs your brain's attention. You stop thinking about what was stressing you out and feel present in the moment. Secondary effect: the cold cools your blood, which goes into your heart and slows down the beating. As your heartbeat slows to maintain your body heat, your lungs breathe more slowly as well. It forces you to breathe, which calms you down. After 5 minutes of this, you will feel much calmer, if slightly drippy. Failure is always an option. The difference between science and messing around is writing it down. If nothing you do matters, all that matters is what you do. Feeling sleepy? Turn your head back and look at the Kelling sky for 5 seconds. Drives off cliff. When walking among other people, there's a trick to avoid the annoying little "who's gonna pass on what side" dance, where both of you go left, then both go right, and then you finally pass. Pick a direction and aim your face towards your intended direction, like look to the left or right of them, clearly turning your head in a single direction. This is a clear signal to people so there's no confusion as to which way you want to pass them. I haven't had that annoying dance since. If you sit quietly while everyone else fucks up, you're going to win big. John Oliver. I've gotten multiple jobs and school opportunities by just doing my work and not being a loud moron. My wife changed my world a while back when dealing with a bad attitude from my son. She simply asked, "What do you think is going to come from this?" I apply that to most things I do now. Even the people who love you can hold you back. It ain't being nasty, they just don't want to lose you or see you get hurt. They wanted the best for you without realizing their idea of what's best ain't necessarily that. Under-promise. Over-perform. Don't expect a thank you. My therapist said, "Yeah, doing the thing will give you anxiety. So you throw that bitch over your shoulder and take her along for the ride." Other therapists I'd heard always focused on making the anxiety go away and distracting myself from it. He was the first person to ever tell me it's okay to be anxious, it's okay if your coping strategies don't always work, and riding through it anyway even if you freak out later is brave as fuck. My granddad lived to be 95. I asked him what the secret to a long happy life was. He told me to mind my own business. "Grandpa, what's your secret to a happy life at 95? Fuck off. I'm not telling you. Mind your own business." From my 7-year-old daughter. I still laugh about it today. If you're ever in an awkward situation with someone or need to just go away, you could always pretend to choke on something. I don't know where this came from, but it's funny and it works. You just run away to get a glass of water. So just pretend like I'm choking, then leave work and go home. Got it? If you're really shy or struggle with holding conversations or being social, just ask questions. This works in 3 ways as 1. The other person will be doing most of the talking. 2. They also leave the conversation with a positive feeling because most people enjoy talking about themselves. And 3. It gives the sense that someone is interested in them. Bonus positive feelings about your interaction. I'm an extroverted introvert. I dislike social contacts, but the nature of my job requires ongoing interaction, and being an only child has always required me to make an effort or be on my own. This tactic usually works for me, and people are always surprised when I say I'm actually super introverted. A coworker told me that when someone has the hiccups, you tell them, "You're not a fish." The amount of times this has worked has convinced me she's a witch. I have texted her at least a half-dozen times whenever it worked. At one point while I had the hiccups and asked a friend to tell me I'm not a fish. Worked. Fucking sorcery. Never miss an opportunity to have a piss. A wise man once told me, buy a plunger before you need a plunger.